Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's poppin', Fantasy Champions?
What's going on?
How you doing, Ricardo?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing dandy. Dandy.
I would be doing a little bit better if the Patriots' only quarterback on the roster right now wasn't Jarrett Stidham.
We just spent like 25 minutes talking about how terrible our quarterbacks is. You know, like we've been dealing with this for 1 year. I'm pretty sure that there are teams in the league that have been dealing with this for entirety of their franchise. Browns fans. Well, Baker's here to stay.
I mean, before Baker, they had like 20 straight different quarterbacks in like 20 years or whatever it was.
That's very true. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always. Today, we're going to continue our, I don't want to call it a series, but it kind of is, but most consistent quarterbacks of the 2020 fantasy football season. So we're going to talk about those. Before we do that, check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChamps, on Instagram at thefantasychampions. You can like us facebook.com/thefantasychampions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, share that podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. And then click the bell for notifications and like and comment. Comment anything besides what sweater I'm wearing today or hoodie.
That was a great comment.
Yeah.
I didn't see the comment, but it was a great comment because it was making fun of you, right?
Literally everyone says that about me, but I have like 14 different hoodies.
Yeah, I have seen you wear, like, it seems like you wear the same clothes, but you don't. It's one of those things. I think you just like...
I wear certain clothes.
Do you have your favorite clothes? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So that's probably it. You just go to your go-tos.
Well, there's like a time of the week that me and my wife do laundry.
I was gonna say there is this thing called
I choose my favorite
laundry.
My favorite pair of clothes after laundry is done, and that's usually right when we podcast. So I wear the same hoodie every show. We also record these in one day, mind you. So if I'm wearing the same clothes two episodes in a row,
why don't they make that comment on me?
That's true. It's because they want to look at me. They're here for me. No.
Okay.
That's fair. That is totally not true. So we're going to talk about the most consistent quarterbacks. I also want to give an update. I broke my titanium wedding ring.
Dude, what?
It snapped in half. It was on I didn't have a chance. I didn't even think about it until I tried to touch my hand.
How'd you break?
I dropped it on the kitchen floor and the thing popped in half. I don't even know how that's freaking possible. It's titanium. They told me it would last a lifetime. Don't go to jewelry places, my friends. All they do is lie.
You drop way too many things. I mean, this laptop that used to be yours. I remember you would carry it around, just drop it.
I carry my laptop now by the screen.
I've never seen you drop this one though. You probably have though, haven't you?
A few times. Dropped it on the concrete getting out of the car once.
Oh.
Did
you need to get a bag, bro? Do you have a laptop bag?
Maybe it was that one that I dropped on the ground. Yeah, it was that one.
You gotta relax. Anyway,
so we're going to talk about most consistent quarterbacks from 2020. Remember, my friends, minimum of 20 games, minimum of 12 games.
Yeah.
So if a guy didn't make the list, you're like, God,
dude, where's Dak Prescott?
Oh my God. Yeah, no,
he's the best quarterback in football. Go Cowboys. Sorry, I didn't mean to destroy all you Cowboys fans. That's just how you sound to me.
Oh boy,
I like Dak. I love Dak.
Yeah, Dak's great. Minimum of 12 games. I also want to preference this by saying that essentially a QB1 performance is for us 20 to 23 or more points per game. So we're going to give you the percentages on the QB1 performances mostly, and essentially enter that information in. So we'll try to give you those percentages and do the best we can to advise you moving forward.
Yes.
So let's yes. Let's start off with our first quarterback,
Marcus Mariota.
Aaron Rodgers, who this was interesting because I organized my spreadsheet, and Rick is right. Marcus Mariota had one 23-point game, started one game, played one game, had 23 points in one game, and hey, I'll take it. Anyway, so Aaron Rodgers He had a quality and great performance, which is 15 points or more a game 94% of the time, which makes him the most consistent quarterback. We wanted to go by only the great games, as I said. Yeah. So, and that's 23 points or more, which he had 69% of the time. You know what Aaron Rodgers didn't do?
What?
He did not finish as a QB1 any week during the season. Not a QB1 as in like a top 12 quarterback. A QB1 as the number one quarterback on the week.
He was never the number one quarterback?
He was never the number one quarterback on the week.
Interesting.
And he was the most consistent quarterback. Now, me and Rick both at the beginning of the season kind of talked about how Aaron Rodgers was dead.
Yeah.
And I did not expect him to come out and do this, but he takes the cake for the most consistent quarterback in fantasy, which is kind of surprising because I don't think if you had people guessing who's going to be the number one guy, I would not have said Aaron Rodgers.
Definitely not me. I was pretty good with quarterbacks this year.
Except for Aaron Rodgers.
There was one guy who I got completely wrong, and that was Aaron Rodgers. And I looked back, I was like, why did I think this? The reasonings I had were like valid. First of all, last year he was the QB 13.
Yeah.
Or QB 14, which is not great. And then they brought in A.J. Dillon. So it seemed like they were committing to the running game. Yeah. And then all of a sudden his fantasy points just like almost like he went from the QB 14 to like the QB 2.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Okay.
With like they didn't add a receiver. He got a year older. They didn't add anything to the offense other than A.J. Dillon. It was literally just him being angry that they drafted Jordan Love in the first round.
I think the big thing too is
Devontae Adams healthy.
Generally speaking, sometimes it takes quarterbacks and offenses a full season.
Yeah,
to
another year
learn,
in the Matt LaFleur offense.
To learn a little bit of the offensive system, but it was also an Aaron Rodgers MVP year, so I don't.
Yeah,
I really don't. I still don't believe in it moving forward. Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a good fantasy option, but he's going to get drafted like top 6 again this year.
Yeah,
it's going to hurt people's souls. He busted 1% of the time. 6% of the time, just one game.
One game, yeah.
So if you play all 16 and you bust one game, it's 6%. Just so you know that.
I want to see.
But he only busted one time. The big thing that made him probably the most consistent quarterback was that he did have 4 quality games where he got 15 to 23 fantasy points, which was 25% of the time. But when you have a guy scoring 20 plus fantasy points 11, 12, 13 times on a season, then that guy is going to win you a lot of games, especially if you're in like a, obviously a super flex league or in a 6-point touchdown league, because obviously the numbers would be more bloviated, if that's the right word you want to use.
Yeah.
But it would be, the stats would be much larger with a 6-point league. But even having a guy that every single week can get you 20 or more points is pretty crucial to your success in a league.
For sure, yeah.
Our home league is 5-point touchdowns, and I think a lot of teams in our league are just starting to figure out that quarterbacks are slightly more valuable in our league than we would have liked to imagined.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. For our league, yeah. But even like leagues where it's the 4-point touchdown, I feel like people take that to an extreme and like, I don't need a quarterback at all, and then have like Jared Goff and Cam Newton as their quarterbacks, and they're like freak.
Yeah.
But Rodgers one bad game this year. The one game that he busted, was against Tampa Bay, and he only had five points in that game, which blew. But after that, he was dynamite.
Yeah. So, and it was like kind of quiet too. Like I said, like what did he finish as the season? Like QB5?
No, I think
QB3.
he was QB. Yeah,
QB3.
I was gonna say QB2 or 3.
But that's like. When I looked over the numbers at the end of the season, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Mahomes 4,
and Mahomes averaged more
points, and then Watson even being up there, and then I saw freaking Rodgers, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
it was just the quietest number 3.
Does he finish as a top 5 quarterback next year?
I don't know, not for a second.
I don't think he does either, because
he'll finish like right where Brady was. This year.
Maybe like what if they add like a big like. Imagine they add like Allen Robinson to go with Devontae Adams.
Well, yeah. Dang.
But if they keep the same team essentially, like I think Dak's gonna jump him. Yeah. Dak was the best fantasy quarterback before getting.
So
hurt.
you think if they go in with the same team that this year was an outlier?
I wouldn't necessarily say an outliner.
Outlier.
I don't know why I said outliner. I'm tired, bro.
You tried.
Yeah, it's
like
tough,
I don't know,
but
when I say he's not going to be the same next year, he's going to get drafted
I
as
just
like
don't think
a
he'll
top
put up
5,
the
6
same
quarterback.
numbers.
And
Like
then
he's still
gonna end
Aaron
up
Rodgers, but he's gonna win MVP next year. Obviously not. You know.
I mean, if he does, don't listen to this podcast in 14 months.
I mean, I'll be surprised. If he
I want to
wins
see the sleeper. Sleeper's kind of caught up on the ADP just a pinch.
Is it? Oh, are you
Sort
gonna
of.
look for the ADP for redraft?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
This is 10 team. I hate this. Why does it sleeper? Why do I automatically mock draft at 10 team? I don't understand that. It drives me crazy. And then I got to adjust it just to get. I'm not even going to try to adjust it. Right now, he's going off the board as the QB 7.
That's definitely dynasty
7th round. It's got to be dynasty because
that has
Justin Fields
and Lawrence.
Mother of God. Hold on a second. I didn't click on the.
I want to say for redraft, he's probably like the QB 3.
No, that's just what it is right now.
Okay.
I think they're getting like a mixture of
Yeah,
like
they don't
rookie
know what they're
drafts
doing.
Whatever. You talk. I'm gonna find it on. Fantasy
yeah.
Football
No, I think
Calculator.
because I've seen in dynasty drafts, he's usually like the QB 9 or 10 off the board. So in redraft, I would not be surprised at all if he's like the QB 4, like somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, to me, I just I don't want to be wrong on him 2 years in a row, but I just feel like that's
Okay.
a little too high.
Rodgers is now going, according to Fantasy Football Calculator, 501, sixth quarterback off the board.
So 6th quarterback off the board isn't as bad, but 501 feels early.
He's going ahead of Dak.
Yeah, I don't like that.
What the frick, guys? He's going ahead of Herbert, Dak, and Russ.
I would.
Yeah, I'm dialing that back a little bit.
Yeah, I would definitely take Dak over him.
Yeah.
And I'd probably take
okay.
Herbert and Russ too. I don't know.
Let me ask you. Okay. Rodgers or Mahomes?
Mahomes.
Rodgers or Allen?
Allen.
Rodgers or Murray? Rodgers or Jackson?
I don't like Lamar at all.
I'll take Jackson.
Yeah, I guess.
Watson or Rodgers?
Watson.
Dak or Rodgers?
Dak.
Dak. I would take Dak as well. Russ or Rodgers?
That one's close to me, but I'll take Russ.
Yeah, I'll take Russ too. Herbert or Rodgers? I would take.
Close, but I'd take Herbert.
And now you start getting into Brady or Rodgers.
So now I'd take Rodgers. So
Okay.
what does that put him? QB 7?
No, that's way more. 1, 2,
QB
3,
8?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not QB 9.
Well,
That should be
we
an
could be wrong by that one.
8th round pick. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that's if I had to do projections like yesterday, I would probably project him somewhere between 8 to 12 is where I would have him.
Yeah.
And that's probably where I would rank him too. I might even rank him lower than that, just based on some guys that I like moving forward, who are younger. But I like I said, I don't really like buying in on these old quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're all about that Herbert train.
I like the younger guys in the later rounds.
No, that's fair.
But
I do
anyway,
too.
so Rodgers, most consistent quarterback in fantasy. Don't know, we'll spend an offseason talking about it. Don't know what he's going to look like, in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really depends on what they add to that offense, but we don't know it necessarily. We have a whole offseason to talk about.
All right.
Number 2 on this list is Kyler Murray. Now, I don't like this at all. I don't like making Kyler number 2 on this list at all. And I wanted to make it like anyone else but Kyler.
Why is that?
Because Kyler Murray was good for the first 10 games of the season, and then he pooped himself.
Yep.
He straight up like dropped a turd in his pants through the last 6 games of the season. Almost lost people fantasy championships until like week 16. He actually had a good performance. And the thing with Kyler is that, I mean, when you go over the numbers, 63% of the time he had 23 points or more per game. He had 4 quality performances, which is 15 to 23, or QB, essentially like high-end QB2 performances, and then 1 less than Aaron Rodgers for the 23 points or more a game. But then when you go back to his busts, he had 2 busts on the season, which, I mean, it is what it is. If a quarterback busting twice in the top 8, this is not a big deal. But when you talk about the guys who are sitting around Kyler Murray right now, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, who's on this list but only played 4 games or 5 games, and then Deshaun Watson,
I think the one
Josh
game
Allen, Mahomes, they all busted once.
Yeah, and for Dak, I think that was because he was injured.
Yeah,
even that was the game he got hurt.
Even Lamar busted the same amount of times as Kyler Murray. So, I'm not really concerned about the bust percentage. He's up there with like the top 7-8 quarterbacks in the league in terms of that. And he was right there with Rodgers in terms of the amount of games that he had. But it was just that second half of the season.
Absolutely,
he just wasn't as good as he was in the first.
And do you want to know, like, a little bit? You were right about that, because through the first 10 weeks of the season,
he was QB1 all day, all night.
He had over 22 points in every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one game that he wasn't great was he had 22 instead of 23. So like he was fantastic in all of those games.
Yeah.
And then after from week 11 to week 17, he had 2 games under 10, and he only had 1 game where he had over a great performance, quote unquote, with over 23 points. So that is a major difference. And you could say like it's because he was battling injuries, but you could also make the case that's because he started playing good teams and good defenses.
Yep.
Seattle, New England, the Rams, Giants had a good defense this year. San Francisco and the Rams again. And in the beginning of the season when he was torching teams, he played Detroit.
Why don't you
Carolina.
slide this way and get close to me?
Okay.
Buddy?
Oh, geez. The Jets. Dallas.
Right.
Seattle. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kyler's kind of a tough one. I still love Kyler. He's my boy.
Oh, I think quick. Rank him real quick.
QB in redraft?
Yeah, right now.
QB 3.
I would say, QB 3 or 4 for me. So.
Oh, yeah. Maybe 4, actually. He's 3 or 4, definitely.
Because I feel like you got to put Mahomes up there.
Mahomes.
Josh Allen.
I would put Josh Allen ahead of him.
I don't know about that. I see Kyler's real close for me. I think it depends. I think Deshaun will be up there, and Dak. Dak should be. Dak is going to end up like number 3 on my rankings for quarterbacks.
I think he will actually also be probably. Yeah. He might be higher than Kyler for me. Like I might have Dak too.
I mean, especially if they pass it. Nothing changed for them. And they still got amazing weapons offensively.
CeeDee Lamb's in his second year. They got Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. I mean, the first 5 games of the season, like he was literally averaging like 30 points a week.
The good thing about Kyler Murray is that he didn't finish as the QB1. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, he didn't finish as the QB1 through 17 weeks. I believe through 16 weeks he did finish as the QB1.
Yeah, he did. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, sleeper. I mean, Fantasy Pros. We're gonna up the bed. Okay, yeah, through 16 he was the QB1. So, I mean, I think for him it definitely was a massive, and I don't know why. I gotta watch some film and I gotta do some analysis. I have no idea why he fell off a cliff at the end of the season, because it wasn't like his matchups were that.
They were a little harder, but
it
wasn't anything too crazy.
Yeah, it was. I don't like it. I do love Kyler Murray though.
What I'm noticing though, in redraft, I would love to take whoever falls if one of those guys falls, because I feel like the difference between like the QB6 and the QB2 is not going to be huge.
No, not. I mean, like Mahomes has to be 1. I feel like he's always going to be 1.
But after Mahomes, it's just going to be like a dog pile of Kyler, Josh Allen,
everyone's gonna have
Dak Prescott, Deshaun
Maybe
Watson.
Next week we'll do early rankings instead of breaking down rookies. We'll slide that into another week.
Yeah.
It's tough. I think like you said, the difference between the 2 and the 6 right now is no. This is why I'm like, I'm out of it on drafting some of these guys. If Joe Burrow, he resumed running. By the way,
that's good.
Resumed running, so that's probably good news. I was told that he wouldn't play next season all year, but I kind of need him to play. Because I need a quarterback in my dynasty.
He might miss like the first few weeks, but he'll play.
But Joe Burrow is going to be a great late round pick coming off the ACL injury, I think. If he ends up playing for the full season. And there's some guys out there. Like I even think, I know people are going to like I'll probably get hate on this, but if we get confirmation that Jalen Hurts is the Eagles starting quarterback.
Definitely. Jalen
Like everyone's going to be like, oh my, he's not a great passer. I'm like, I don't give a frick if he's a great passer. Lamar Jackson still isn't a good passer, and he's a top 5 quarterback. So like
last year, 2 years ago, I was on the Kyler train. Mm-hmm. Last year, I was on the Joe Burrow train, which looked okay until he got hurt. I might be on the Trevor Lawrence train too.
Oh, stop.
As like a low end QB1. Herbert was QB1.
I don't think a quarterback. I don't think a rookie quarterback's ever going to come out and be a top 5.
Not top 5.
And that's always what I'm looking for.
But if you're in like deeper leagues, and Trevor Lawrence probably won't even get drafted, even in deeper leagues. Like if you're in like a 12, 14 team league, especially if you're in like a 14 team league, like I would love Trevor Lawrence, because I think he could be like a QB like 10 or 11. But conversation for a different day.
I'm the 102 in a rebuild league, and I need quarterbacks. As super flex league, need quarterbacks desperately, hoping that the team that currently holds the 101. I tanked in the consolation bracket, bracket just to get Trevor Lawrence. And then I was informed by the league commissioner that that's not how we do it in this league. We're going to do
that's how they avoid tanking.
I was so mad. I was like, you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Could have told me that before, and I would have actually. I couldn't even try to win. My 2 starting quarterbacks were hurt. Yeah.
Anyway, you should take Justin Fields. 102.
Yeah. Okay. I hope I can get Trevor Lawrence there, but anyway, that's probably not going to happen. Yeah. So Kyler Murray was 2. I think moving forward, just to recap, I think he's going to be fine. He's one of my top at least 4 guys. So
me too.
Like I'm not sure about his ADP, which is currently 402.
Which is the 3rd quarterback off the board.
Yeah, 3rd quarterback off the board. I'm not sure about that. I'm probably never going to draft a quarterback in the 4th round, just throwing it out there. Unless I had the sports almanac from Back to the Future and I knew somebody was going to be the QB1.
Yeah.
But anyway. Number 3 on the list, Justin Herbert. And the only reason why my dude Justin Herbert did not finish higher is because he didn't start playing until, week 2? 3?
No, I think he started playing week 2.
You know what? These statistics are based on how many games they played, how many games he started, so it doesn't really matter. But he ended up as number 3 most consistent quarterback in fantasy. Busted 1 time. I think he had 15 starts. That's what it looks like. 15 starts.
15 starts.
He had 5 quality performances, which, high-end QB2 performances, 15 to 23 fantasy points. And then he had 9, just 1 less than the 2 guys above him, 23 or more points per game. So he was at 60% of the time.
You can make an argument, as a rookie, he had 1 bad game. The other game that he quote-unquote busted in, he still had, he played good in real life. Fantasy-wise, he only had 13 fantasy points.
Yeah.
And the only other game that he busted in was against rookie quarterback genius Bill Belichick, where he threw 2 interceptions and 0 touchdowns.
We told people to sit him that week, didn't we?
We did. Because Belichick against rookie quarterbacks, unless your name is, I think Russell Wilson had a good game. There's we went through the whole list. There was 2 guys out of 20 that had good weeks. I think Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson were the only 2.
No, he started first week 2, right?
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. So if you go from weeks 2 to 17 when he started, he was QB6.
Yeah. That's probably where I have him ranked.
Me too. I love Justin Herbert. I hate that. I'm concerned that Herbert moving forward, he's got an entirely new offense to learn in his second year, and he was very good in his first year, but I'm is this going to be something that
that
we should be concerned about?
You should be nervous about.
Yeah. So it just depends on the coach too. Did they put a good coaching staff around him that will lead him into the promised land, I guess, or is it just another terrible coaching staff that the Chargers continue to hire?
Yeah.
Right now, Herbert's 603 as the 9th quarterback off the board.
Ooh, I like that.
So I don't think it stays there, honestly.
It might. The guys ahead of him were Wilson and Rodgers.
Yeah.
Dak. So he might. If he's a QB9 off the board,
yeah,
I'm all over that.
Yeah.
All over that. Again, love Kyler, love Herbert. These are my boys.
Yeah, I'm probably going to rank Justin Herbert in top 5, but we'll see if that happens. I'm just not a Russ guy. Not a Russ for fantasy.
Never
guy.
happened.
Real life Russ guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's always great, and then he'll just drop off randomly.
Yep. Number 4 on our list is Deshaun Watson. 56% of the time he finished as a QB, or not as a QB1, but with 23 or more points per game. So he was absolutely fantastic. The difference between, I think, Watson, and the rest of the pack, because I think a lot of people that had Watson weren't thinking oh my God, he's winning me leagues or winning me weeks, was that he was kind of around the same area as Herbert in terms of great games, which is why he was 56%. But a majority, because 94% of the time he finished with 15 or more points on a week. But and 6 of those games were quality performances.
His one bust game was 14.3.
Yeah, so he's always there, consistently there.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have those monster 35 to 40 point weeks,
right?
Like the Patrick Mahomes.
He has done that in the past. He just didn't do it this year.
He just didn't do it this year. So we'll see. Deshaun Watson in Houston we don't even know if that's over yet. It sounds like
probably is.
it sounded like it was over, but the Houston Texans are holding on to him. Like, if this was the Bill O'Brien GM days, he would have been traded like four weeks ago.
I mean, if they can get like 4 first-round picks,
he would have been traded for like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, he would have been traded for he would have been traded
a 4th-round pick.
He would have been traded for Melvin Gordon, straight up.
Yeah,
An old running back.
Yeah, and Drew Lock. Threw Drew Lock in there. Anyway,
that might be too much.
I don't know where Watson's going to end up. I think anywhere he goes, he'll probably end up being good. So I'm not really concerned about that, but I do want to see landing spot for him if he ends up leaving Houston because.
But how many? So I was going to say that. First of all, does landing spot really affect him?
It depends on the team because I really think
what teams would
there's some garbage NFL teams that are.
The only team that I think could negatively affect him would be the Jets. But like he would still be like a top like 7 quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Like he'd probably just be like all the guys that we were talking about, how they're all close together.
Yeah.
He'd probably just be at the bottom of that list, but he'd still be in that category.
I'm gonna look up the odds.
I know Denver Broncos, and the 49ers are too high, and I think that's improved. Like if he goes to the 49ers, he might be a top 3 fantasy quarterback for me. And if he goes to Denver, with those weapons with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and all that, like he's gonna be up there too. The Patriots are high. Wow, that's great to know.
Hold on a second. So it says
this was updated last month.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm trying to find another one.
The Dolphins, 49ers, Broncos.
There we go.
Washington football team.
This is a legit website. So the Jets right now,
Panthers,
are at plus 230. This was released February 4th. So some of the
Colts are on this list.
Some of the Colts are on this list. So some teams that still need a quarterback. But right now the Jets are at plus 230. Most likely because they have the most trade capital. But I don't think that really fits what they're gonna do. I think they're more likely to trade it for a quarter. What does that do? That gives Houston that number 2 overall pick, so then they can use it to draft Fields.
There's also mixed reports that Deshaun Watson, right? But there's mixed reports. Some people say that he wants to go to the Jets, and then other people say he doesn't want to go to the Jets. And I feel like it's the latter.
Yeah,
I don't know why he would want to go to the Jets. I know he likes the coach, but it's the Jets.
The Carolina Panthers are plus 300.
I think that would be a good spot.
I actually think right now,
for
if these odds were updated, I would say Carolina's probably the favorite.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're pretty close, the Jets and the Panthers. And then I'm just going to say the next 2 because the Denver Broncos are not going to get them. San Francisco 49ers plus 850 right now, and then Miami Dolphins are plus 700. So those are the odds, top 4 teams.
Bro, why don't you think the Broncos are going to get them?
Because the Broncos are not going to. I don't know.
They have a top 10 pick.
I have no reasoning behind believing that, but
other than he doesn't want to play, but I think he would. He likes Judy.
Right now, it's Jets, Panthers, Dolphins, 49ers. I think if he lands anywhere, it'll probably be the Panthers or the Dolphins. I don't think the Jets are going to trade that pick.
I think I don't know.
But are you concerned?
I don't think the Dolphins would do it. I think
let's say he doesn't go to the Jets.
Okay. Then I'm not concerned. Like they're the only team on that list that I'd be like.
Do you think either one of those landing spots is better for him? Like obviously the 49ers would be probably the best.
49ers would probably be better. Carolina and even Denver might be those because Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy.
What about Miami?
KJ Hamler. Miami's a better team, but like just purely fantasy based. Like I don't know. Devontae
Carolina's
Parker.
got all the weapons.
Right. I'm just looking at it from like a weapons base essentially.
Yeah.
And maybe O-line a little bit. And like Miami's defense is good,
right?
And they have a few guys, but
moving around in here.
I mean,
yeah. So I mean, those are the odds of where he's gonna go. I'm not concerned about any of them. The only team that I would be really concerned with is the Jets.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next guy. We have I was gonna say T.J. Hawkinson, but that's the wrong show notes.
Josh Allen.
We have the final guy, Josh Allen. Now this is one of those things where you break down the numbers on a player that you're like, excited about, and you're like, ooh, that's not as good as I thought it would be.
Yep.
So he 56% of the time finished with 23 or more points per game, similar to Watson. And then he had 6, 15 to 23, and then 1 bust. So he was very similar to Deshaun Watson. Didn't really have those explosive early in the season, which is why he finished as a top echelon quarterback. He had these like 40-point games, and he was very good. And then as the season went along, he kind of like middle of the season there was like a lull for him fantasy wise. And then late in the season he picked it up again, which I did not expect him to do, which is why I traded him in.
From like week 6, even week 5, from like week 5 to 14.
Only busted once, by the way.
He was good, but he wasn't great. Where he really excelled was week 1 through 4, so the first 4 games of the season.
Yeah, and then the last 4.
And then the last 3 games of the season. Yeah. So that 7-game stretch, he was fantastic.
Now, what are the weeks?
The others, he still wasn't bad.
What are the weeks? Like week 5?
Look up Josh Allen from week 5
to 14, 13
to 14.
Okay, Josh Allen from week 5 to 14 was the QB8.
Yeah.
1 to 4.
I think he was the QB1.
He was the QB1. No, he was QB3.
Dak.
Dak's ridiculous.
And even Russell was pretty good.
And then the last couple weeks, I'll go 14 to 17.
He wasn't great in 14. He was good in 15. Try 15.
I'm just going to do 14.
Okay. Well,
he was a QB2.
Still QB2.
So, yeah, I think as far as Josh Allen is concerned, he had like some really good games at the beginning of the season, really good games back of the season. He was consistent for the most part. In that, like he's one of the guys that for 15 points or more, he had 94% of the time. One of the guys we just talked about, Kyler Murray had that 88% of the time. Herbert had 93% of the time, and then Deshaun Watson had 94% of the time. So according to finishing with 15 points or more per game, Rodgers, Watson, Josh Allen were the top quarterbacks, and Justin Herbert were the top quarterbacks in fantasy football this year, according to the consistency metric. But if you're just asking for 23 or more points per game, then you're going to be in that ballpark of, you know what I mean, 56% of the time. So if Josh Allen wasn't like blowing your faces off week to week, but
yeah, he was still very
like
even that
was.
stretch where he wasn't good, and that was a big stretch. What was it, week 5 to 14 or whatever?
Yeah.
So majority of your season, he was still a QB8. So it's not like he was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he might get overdrafted this year. Like I know in every dynasty startup he's the 102, which is like
he's second quarterback off the board, 311 in redraft.
Yeah, so like I love Josh Allen, and I might even have him as like the QB 2 or 3, but
yeah,
I'm not taking him in the 3rd round.
No, I'm not either. I don't.
He's just not. I don't think he's worth a 3rd round pick.
What you get, I feel like you can,
especially with the quarterback,
like you said, the week from quarterback 2 to 6 or 7 right now, it's kind of in the same tier almost. Right. So I'm not really like, if moving forward, Josh Allen, if you have him on your fantasy team, like you're going to get good production. I'm just not excited about that. Like you said, overdrafted is probably the best way to put it, because I think there's going to be a lot of people who draft him and then just get sheerly disappointed by the effectiveness. But I want to see what the Bills do. They need running game badly.
Yes,
and maybe they can add some running backs that are not named Zach Moss or.
Well, they need. I think the offensive line isn't great either.
Yeah,
and to be honest, their defense is like average as well. Right. Like they have holes on their they have a few holes on that team that they need to fill, but has nothing to do with weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and then honorable mention is Mr. Dak Prescott.
All right.
I wanted to mention him because he had played in 5 games and he busted one. That was the game that he freaking ripped his freaking ankle in half.
Yeah.
But you take that game out, and the other 3 games that he played, or the other 4 games that he played, he was 80% of the time finishing as a QB1 or better. And he had 23 or point or more games. So
I think people have forgotten just how good he was. And how good that offense is.
He was QB1 for
with Dak.
First 4 weeks
before he got hurt. So you got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Zeke.
Yeah. At 505, you're still too rich for my blood.
And one of in the top like 10 offensive line in the league. Yeah, where's too rich for your blood? What'd you say?
He's at 505, too rich for my blood.
Still the 7th quarterback off the board though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think these quarterbacks are going to go as early. Like right now, Jalen Hurts is 802. True.
Burrow's high, huh? Oh, I'd love Trevor Lawrence as the QB 27.
Cam Newton 13.
Why is Fields is ahead of Trevor Lawrence? That's funny. I'll take it. Anyway, I will take it.
So there's your honorable mention, and also your list.
Yep.
Of most consistent quarterbacks from the 2020 fantasy football season. It was an interesting year when it came to the quarterback position. Hopefully these analytics and statistics help you out. Don't forget to check out our website. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We'll talk to you Thursday, my friends.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.